So what we need to do is to do different things also. Okay, some difficult times, testing times, absolutely correct, but also not impossible times. You have seen that there are certain things actually which has become more popular than the usual time during the lockdown period. There are certain products which have sold more, and there are certain industries like IT for one, which has flourished, and things are getting into normal. It's taking a little more time. I was talking with a whole lot of hoteliers for last few days, and all seems to be very, very positive, very positive. Today morning also, I spoke with Mr. Sanjay Sharma, who is the heading Hyatt Group in India, and he said that 3 months time and we would be back with a big, big bang. So which is good news. I mean, things are coming back, although a little slowly, which is quite understandable because a lot of the cities in India are still under some kind of curfew or some kind of closed down, although it may be unlocked. Places like Mumbai are really, really quite challenging. Pune and Mumbai are difficult cities to work with right now. And I think the thing that we have to now encourage our students are not just to prepare themselves for the placements in the hotel sector or the other sector like retail or healthcare or cruise liner, but also to encourage them very proactively to become an entrepreneur. Now, although I've seen a lot of young people are quite interested to do entrepreneurship, they actually want to do something of their own. But somehow or the other, sometimes they also lack the proper kind of guidance. Sometimes they lack a proper kind of funding possibly. And sometimes they feel that it takes a lot of money, which is absolutely untrue and a myth. So obviously, like any hospitality assignment, it takes a lot of passion. It takes a lot of courage, and that's the reason we named it Shahas, which means courage. And it takes hard work. So if somebody has got the ability to work hard, is very passionate about what they want to do for themselves in life instead of working for someone else, and is courageous, they have got that dare to do culture, that drive, that fire in their belly, that particular kind of a drive that makes people do impossible things possible, then this is the place where they should do instead of working for hotels or restaurant or hospitality organization. They can actually become successful entrepreneur. Now, what actually we have lacked, what we have lacked over the last so many years in India, and this is from experience, is that most of the hospitality school and even business school are teaching the student with an ambition to get them a placement, get them a job. The other day, the CEO of Bandhan Bank, Chandrasekhar Ghosh, was telling the same thing in a webinar sharing with me, that a college which said that 100% job placement gets more students. So what we are now looking at is not a job placement only, but we are looking at a career placement. So it is not that we are only interested to get them a job in a Taj or in a Hyatt or a Marriott, but we also want to have them create small to middle empire. Take the example of Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo Rooms. He never went to catering college. He started when he was 18 and a half. I met him when he was 22 in Bhubaneswar, and he's now 28 or something. And he's the second largest hotel manager in the world, which means he owns second largest number of hotels in the world after Marriott. He's India's #1 hotelier in terms of the rooms and inventory. And he's just about 27 now. So, but then what Ritesh Agarwal is, he's a very, very ordinary person who did some extraordinary work. He comes from a place called Cuttack in Orissa, not from a very big urban city. He studied in an absolute middle class Oriya medium, Hindi medium place, but he had that passion. He works hard, very hard, even now. And he had the courage to do something. And he created Oyo Room. And Oyo Room started and stopped. But ultimately, it actually became one of the biggest success story of the India's hospitality industry. So there are hundreds of Ritesh Agarwal who can really rule the business hospitality sector. And that is one of the things that in India, we have seen one Ritesh Agarwal, one Anjan Chatterjee, a couple of people who have really done well. But we have not seen the entrepreneurship like that in the West. Because by nature, Indians feel that we should go and work because that is safe. But in the COVID time, we have all seen nothing is safe. In fact, that is much more unsafe because people can lose job. But if you are actually an entrepreneur, you can innovate, you can do something else, and you can still come out of the tough times, and you can be successful much more than just being an employee of a big company. So keeping all this in mind, we decided that we will start one very proactive entrepreneur hub or a cell where very, very proactively we want to encourage our student to take up entrepreneurship as their life's profession. For that, we will have the advisory committees on campus base. It's all decentralized so that the campus can have their eminent people, eminent entrepreneur, and not always very big names, but people who have done well, maybe small way, and they can come and give advices. They can guide our students. I'm telling you that our students do so much of subjects like accounting, finance, law, management in the course. But if you give them just to fill up one application form of a loan of a bank, just pick up an application for a bank loan from internet, and it's about 10-20 pages, right? And just give it to them. You give it to a third-year student, and they will not be able to fill up that form. They will not be able to fill up a simple loan application form because nobody taught them, nobody guided them. But now we make sure that they are not only they will fill up the form, but they will actually put up the real data, and they will go to the bank and talk with the bank manager and say that, yes, I want a loan because I want to do something in the food business or hospitality business or something else, or maybe retail business or something totally different. I can have a small app and maybe do a food delivery or whatever. Thousands and millions of opportunities are there. One of the reasons that India have failed to produce the entrepreneur is this mindset. That a mindset of becoming a worker, mindset of becoming an employee, mindset of becoming a safety net person, mindset of getting protected by gratuity and provident fund. This mindset has now changed already. If you go to the West, you will see that out of 5 chefs, only 1 chef actually works for the company, for a hotel. 4 out of 5 chefs work for themselves. And in India, 5 out of 5 chefs works for a company. You have seen the chefs in the YCO as a judge, and you see that excepting 1 or 2, none of them have working in a hotel. They have got their own restaurant, own pub, own chain, or their advisor. Andy Verma is doing huge catering in Greece and France. They don't work for a company like Hyatt or Marriott. So the culture of enterprise is existing in the West from the school days, from the college days. You see the example of Airbnb, which is one of the biggest company in the world now, and was founded by 1 person and 2 more co-founder. You take the example of Uber. You take the example of Domino's. The man who started the KFC about 40 years back, the same guy with the French cart, you see the picture, started when he was 54 years old. And he started selling the chicken fry in a cycle. So these are the kind of success story that they have made, and they have globalized. Today, KFC, Airbnb, all are global companies. Ubers. India also have seen recently very good enterprise. I'll say food app like Swiggy, Zomato has been super success. There has been a hailing app like Ola, which is also in UK. So we are coming to that. But I think we still have a long way to go, where we need to really encourage our students to become entrepreneur. Big, small, medium is irrelevant. Everybody have to start small. Everybody. KFC guy started with a cycle, not a motorcycle also. Not even a two-wheeler, just a cycle, ordinary bicycle. And now KFC is all over the world. So we need to. Oyo started with two rented houses in Odisha and 1 in Gurgaon. That was his office also. So what all these guys did, they started very small. Ritesh Agarwal started with the office come 3 rooms, paying guests, and he used to stay in one of the rooms as Oyo rooms. And today he's the #2 hotelier in terms of inventory in the world. And he's just about less than 30-year-old. So all this inspirational success story actually once made us think that we should also encourage our student. I know that Yangdup Lama is coming, and I could see Yangdup in a very stylish blue t-shirt. Yangdup is another big example. Yangdup is one of our very proud alumni of mine, very proud of what he have done. And I still remember Yangdup and the group in the Hyatt Regency in '94, where the first time I placed 24 of them in Hyatt Regency with a full batch. And Yangdup also has become one of the India's foremost mixologist entrepreneur. So that is what he has become. And a lot of his batchmates may have become general managers also. They are successful equally, but the kind of fame, the kind of satisfaction, the kind of passion, the kind of enterprise that people like Yangdup or Sandeep Gupta, who is our super duper alumni and who owns almost 35 restaurants now in Hong Kong, including restaurants of Gordon Ramsay, same batch as Yangdup's. So, and also it's the same Hyatt batch where Yangdup and all went. But he's now one of the top entrepreneur in Hong Kong. He's the first Indian guy ever who have an IPO in Hong Kong. Only person from India, from the hospitality industry, who had got an IPO. He has been in the NASDAQ. He has made it really big. But it all started from a very small dream. All this batch of '94 from IIHM, Yangdup, Vikas, Sandeep, Suraj, all went together to Hyatt. But see, today they are all doing so well. And the guys like Yangdup, Sandeep and all, and then Javed is having restaurant in Australia, all are doing so well, so well. So the enterprise is something that is not in a blood. A lot of people think that's in a blood. I have never had anyone in my family for the last 10 generation who ever did business. So when I started my business, my father almost died of a heart attack. And I think that's the reason he died actually, because he never could think that somebody from the family can actually do a business and not work, and somebody who is qualified as a chartered accountant. So it is not a blood thing. It's not a DNA thing. It's not a family thing. People have to come. Ritesh Agarwal never came from a family, a businessman. So you have to understand that we as educators, we as teachers, and our students as mentees have to understand that they have a much bigger ecosystem, much bigger platform, much bigger sphere, much bigger world to play. And our biggest advantage of being in India is our population. 120 or 140 crores, I don't know the number exactly, but you are in a country which is hugely populous. We don't live in a small country where the population are less, where the people may or may not come. Here, even if you open a food truck and go into the old Delhi, very crowded old Delhi, people will stop and buy. Not the day one, but maybe in the day 10. So there are opportunities aplenty, and there are people who have done it big also. But it's also not about doing big from day one. We have to dream big, but we have to start small. Nobody in the world have started big. Nobody. Not even Donald Trump. So all have started small. Anjan Chatterjee started with a small restaurant in his Bombay house called Only Fish. He's a Bengali and he loved fish. So he started selling some fish because his friend said, you make so nice fish, Anjan, why don't you sell? We will buy. So his business started for his friends. And he started from his own kitchen and in a garage. Because he didn't have a car. So the garage was empty. He started Only Fish from there. And from there to the specialty group has got a market cap of 1,000 crores. The only restaurant chain in India which got an own IPO. It all started from one garage called Only Fish and Sweet Bengal, where he used to sell Bengali Rasgulla and Sandesh from his Bombay suburb. So all these are very inspirational stories, and these are real stories. These are real things made by real people who actually decided to dream some real big dreams and not really want to only work. There is nothing wrong in working for a couple of years, but then the passion, the fire has to be there. And for that, we have launched this particular initiative in all our 10 campuses called Sahas, where we will be proactively guiding the student. We will be holding their hands. We will be mentoring them. We will bring people like Anjan, Yangdup is here. I've spoken with another of my alumni from IIHM called Sarvendra Sarkar, who is doing fantastically well. He has got over 35 hotels, Signet Hotel. Fantastic guy again. Again, an absolute unassuming student when he was in college. I never thought Sarvendra will become that kind of a superstar, which he is now. And we have got people who are actually done this for so many years. It's as I said, it can start with just filling up a loan application form. If you can fill up a 20-page loan application form of a bank, that's the first step. It's such a small step, and you can get the form in internet in any bank. Truth is, if you ask 10 of our students, 9 will not be able to do that also. So truth be told, it's our reliance on so much of job that we also in a way ignored the entrepreneurship part of the business, entrepreneur part of the career of the youngster. But now never, better late than never. So this is going to be one of our signature initiative where we will really encourage students. We are putting some money also. We are putting a 1 crore, which is not a big amount, but among our campuses, we are putting a Sahas fund of 1 crore, which will be kept in our bank. And based on the elevation, we can give from 5,000 to 50,000 to 1 lakh to the person who needs some seed capital, some money, initial money as a PE or as a loan. I will tell them how they can really go to the venture capitalist, can get some loans or some initial support. We can do that. And I'm sure as we evolve, this 1 crore will become 10 crores and this 10 crore will become 100 crore of fund for the student. This is just a seed money from our side also, but I'm sure it can be go to 10 crore to 100 crore. And we will support all our students so that they can become entrepreneurs rather than job seeker. They will give them job giver. And that's what also the Prime Minister said, the Atmanirbhar, the self-reliance. We want a self-reliant India where you don't rely on a company to employ you, but you actually are reliant on your own talent, own courage, own passion, own fire in the belly, and your dare to do dream. I think we are the people as educator have to guide them, hold their hands, and when the things are tough, which will definitely be, when they fall down, we are the guys who will ask them to get up and tell them that it's not end of it. We'll give another try. In fact, that is what is all about hope. And in this time, I think the best thing that we can do for our student is to bring hope, because hope is what will change the world. Hope is what we all live for. Hope is what this Sahas is. And I think today, as we inaugurate the first chapter of Sahas in Delhi, we have a lot of hope that this will become a shining light for all our students, past, present, and future. With that, I wish everybody best of luck, and I'm sure that this will become one of our signature initiative from the House of IIHM. So thank you very much, and we'll all work together as a team. We'll all hold our hands together, and we'll make sure that Sahas actually become one of the biggest hospitality entrepreneurship initiative in the country to start with, and then in the world. Thank you. That's all from me. Signing off from Calcutta.
Thank you, Dr. Bose. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a big announcement coming in. He just made that as the founder and CEO of IIHM has put aside ₹1 crore as a corpus fund, as a seed fund for all our campuses. And we are willing to go ahead and give this to our students who do an elevation pitch, which is a format we will tell you as to how you need to go. You need to prepare a plan, then present it. We've got Mr. Lama with us today. And of course, we will be joining in later on as well once your elevation pitch is ready. And of course, you present this pitch. There are chartered accountants in it. There are other 3-4 members along with Mr. Lama who will look at your plan, who will discuss your plan, who will share this plan with you. And if that is approved, the fund and the board decides how much fund needs to be given to you. And this is a small initiative from IIHM, from Dr. Bose, Chairman, CEO, IIHM, to promote entrepreneurship, because that's the need of the hour, looking at everything. And now, without wasting any more time, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a star speaker today who joins in, Mr. Yangdup Lama. Indian mixologist, bartender, entrepreneur, author. He's India's finest mixologist. He started his career in Hyatt Regency, as Dr. Bose said, and within 4 years of his working, he decided that he wants to get into entrepreneurship, and he opened his mobile bartending cocktails and dreams company. And later on, it was a consultancy till about 2003, and then he started and he opened his own bar in Gurgaon, and that's where his love and affair started, and he started making money. And of course, today, he's here with us. He is going to talk about the art of entrepreneurship, how you need to start thinking, what exactly you should look into when you look into open your own business. And this is the first step we are going to discuss about how to set up a plan, what to think, how to run a business in a general macro level he's going to share. And then as we go forward in weeks to come, we will do these sessions again where we'll be focused on opening your own business. This is a small initiative from IIHM where we promote entrepreneurship, where we want our students to become job creators and not job seekers. Let's use this time, let's use this as an opportunity to brainstorm ourselves and to improvise and to become millionaires of tomorrow. No wonder, and I will not be surprised, possibly, maybe some of you will come back after 5 years and say COVID-19 was the best thing that could happen to your career because of which you're a millionaire. With this, over to you, Mr. Lama. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. You can unmute yourself, yes.
Hello, hi everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Bose. And thank you, Abdullah, for that energetic opening note. You know, it was full of energy. And I like the later bit of it where he spoke about becoming millionaires. Guys, when you become millionaires, lend me a little bit of money so that I can open up more bars. Okay. But wonderful. Nice to be with all of you, students here. And of course, a few faculty as well. And of course, my mentor and my director when I joined IIHM many years ago, Dr. Bose. It's wonderful to be amongst all of you and share a little bit of my experience. I do not know if I've ever done a session like this, which is all about entrepreneurship, but I have done the art of cocktail making. I have never done something like the art of entrepreneurship. But with whatever little experience that I have and whatever little that I can share, I'm sure it will help you as young students, as young blood, and the future of this country, to give you that little bit of encouragement, the inspiration, or the belief in yourself and in your ideas to take up something in a small way and then make it big in the course of the years to come. So I hope it will work out really well with you. So coming back to my story and a little bit about how it all happened. In my case, it is a little different because when I was doing it, everything was normal. So I had all the time in the world. There wasn't a panic situation. The going was great, and I was at a time when India was just opening up to the world as far as investment was concerned. So I was at a time when I actually joined hotels in the year 95, 96, 97, when there was a lot of focus in terms of opening up businesses to the rest of the world, and it was a great time to be in hotels. But what really worked at that time was because we had a lot of international guests and a lot of long-staying guests, they would all come down to the bar, and there was something that was going on at the bar, which was called the bar culture, which wasn't otherwise a regular thing to happen. Hotel bars were considered to be very boring because you go to a hotel bar, you only go there for a meeting. You do not really go there to chat up with the bartender. But what happened with a lot of these mixed multicultural guests that were staying within the hotel was all of them came down, and what it did was it actually gave me a lot of exposure and made me into not just a mixologist but also a very all-round kind of a bartender. So in my case, the story was a little different. And then when I left and I just wanted to explore bartending, the idea was not to become an entrepreneur. The idea was just, and it came up with a very foolish idea because I was one of those very average students, and sometimes I just feel it's good to be an average student because you always have plan B. So as an average student, you have multiple things lined up. So if plan A does not work, you always have plan B. So when I actually went as a freelancer, and I'll tell you, this is the truth. I just realized at that time my salary when I was working at the Hyatt was 5,500 rupees. This was 1999, mid 1999. And when I went out to do my first party as a freelance bartender, the guest actually paid me 5,000 rupees for one evening. And then I started comparing. I said, if I work for 10 days, I'm going to make 50,000 rupees, and I have 20 days in hand to enjoy the 50,000 rupees. But if I continued working with the hotel, I would have to work for 6 days a week, which is very odd timing. So by the time I'm home, it's 6 in the morning. So I sleep almost more than half the day on my off day, and of course lesser money as well. So that is how my journey started. But what I realized, and what I still believe very strongly, and this happened to me in 2012 when I started on my passion project, which is purely my labor of love, which is Cocktails and Dreams Speakeasy with the bar. When this was happening, it was me and my partner presently, who is also an ex hotel management graduate, and also somebody who came and did a little bit of work when she was in her third year. We had a partner, and somebody walked into my office in my bartending school and said, this is my son. He's come back from the US, and the dad was into garment business, and he said he doesn't want to join my business, so therefore he's only come back from the US because I promised him to invest in something that he wants to do. So, and that his main passion was he wanted to open up a bar, but the guy had no idea and no clue about what bars were. So he said, can you partner with him so that he can open up a bar? So we said, okay, great. Somebody's come to us with money and we have the know-how. So we said, okay, wonderful. Are you ready to invest? He said, yes. So that's what gave us the first excitement. So the three of us got together and we started looking for places. So when we were looking for places all across Delhi is when we got to know this guy even better. And after about 1 month of spending time with him is when we realized he might not be a great partner to work with, because this was a lazy fellow. The dad had all the money, and he would. Whereas in our case, for us, it was a bread and butter. So after about 1.5 months is when we received a mail from him saying that I think we will not be able to take this further. So therefore, we will not be able to partner with you. And then me and my partner was just left alone. But what it did? It rang a bell, because the excitement was already built up, and we were all already into it. And we said, no, you know what? Now that there's no partner and we only have whatever little money that we have as our savings, I said, let's give it a shot. So we went to this no man's land in Gurgaon, which was absolutely, an absolute no-no for any sensible investor in the restaurant business or the bar business to open up a bar. So we went to a place where the rental was 1/6 of what it otherwise would be, and picked up the place because it worked for us, because we could afford it. Okay. What we realized was that we all knew that there's hardly any footfall, it's a dead market. But what we knew was to create a place where any customer would like to make an effort to come to that place. And that's how the journey started. So of course, the first 6 months was tough. We only started getting returns after about 7-8 months. But what was happening in the course of those first few months was that anybody who came to the bar, we went all out to give him an experience whereby he would make sure that he would come back again and again to the bar. So that I narrate this story to you is because as an entrepreneur today, whenever I speak to younger minds, I always speak about one thing, and very important thing. The first and the foremost is always believe strongly in yourself. That's the first and the most important thing. And it does not just apply to doing business. It also applies to just being a good professional. The first and the foremost thing is please never ever think that you cannot do what somebody else has done. We are all human beings. We all have the potential, the mind, the intelligence. We all have exactly the same gift that any other human being has got in this world. And therefore, it is not impossible for any of us to not be able to achieve what we want to achieve in life. It is important to dream. Dreaming is very important. You have to dream. If you do not dream in life, you will never ever, try to pursue your dream. So dreaming is very important. It's good to dream. Okay. But after you've dreamt, you have to make that dream a reality. And in order to make that dream a reality, the first and the foremost is to believe in yourself. So it is like, yes, I can do it. And after you've believed in yourself, the idea is to then give it your best shot. Okay. So if the requirement is 100%. So if you need to give 100%, even 99.99 is not 100%. So that should be the thought process, as a young mind. So what happens is sometimes you're not too sure. And of course, entrepreneurship it comes with a package, it comes with everything. It comes with all the seasons. It has, uh, it has monsoons, it has winters, summers, spring. It comes with all kinds of things. The idea is to have that gut feeling and the belief in yourself that come what may, you're going to do it. Okay. And one of the greatest example is the present time. Nobody expected a thing like this would happen, but it has happened now. And this is something that I've been speaking to a lot of forums in the last 2 months. And, one of the biggest liquor companies in the world called Diageo and Puerto Rico, we had a session like this to their sales and marketing team. And everybody had a similar question saying, what do you think is going to work out in the near future? And I said, anybody who is innovative, anybody who has the right mindset at this point in time will come out successful. So what it has done is, in the last 2 months, whatever has happened, the COVID-19, what it has done is, it has got you thinking. Now everything starts from within. Anybody who thinks and feels depressed about the situation, it's only going to affect him or her. But the minds who actually say, okay, this is a great time to rethink and reinvent, that's the guy who is going to go back when things open up and going to go back with a bang, because he will have 10 great ideas. And out of the 10, definitely 2 or 3 ideas will work out fantastically for him. So which means he will go back 10 steps ahead of the rest. Okay. And that is exactly what entrepreneurship is all about. You have an idea. There is nothing called a bad idea. Every idea is a great idea. The difference is how you implement that idea. That makes the difference. One of my greatest example is right in front of us, Dr. Bose. I know him since 1992. Okay. I know the story of IIHM from AE 486, okay, and to where it is today, right? And it is a great example because it is right in front of our eyes, and to be in an institute which started from a small little 4-room, 5-room place, and to be where we are as an institute and also as students of that place, in itself a great story to narrate. We don't even have to look outside that space. That itself is a great example right in front of us, in person, and going strong. This whole idea of when Abdullah called me on Monday and spoke about this, it rang a bell within my mind. I said, and I spoke to my partner, I said, can you imagine there must be more than 5 to 10 lakh students who are passing out from hotel management colleges all across India, and look at the plight, because at this time of the year is when hotels, restaurants, bigger chains would conduct a lot of campus interviews. But the situation at this point in time is, forget about recruitment, they're not even going to be able to sustain what they have with them at this point in time. And this is when it is not about relying on the industry. This is the time when you become self-reliant. This is the time when institutes like IIHM is thought from inside out. You said, okay, if you cannot get a job, let's create jobs. So the idea is to be more creative. That is the whole idea. I think the thought process is very different. It's an inside-out thought process. And this itself is a great example, each of you as young minds, to incorporate that kind of a thought process in yourself, okay, and come up with ideas. And ideas does not mean, like Dr. Bose mentioned earlier, it does not mean you need a lot of money. You need the right idea. It's not difficult to get money. Getting money is very easy. And I'm telling you this because I'm in the business at this point in time. For me, to get a few crores to open up a bar is not difficult. To get the right concept and the right idea and the implementation of the right idea is a bigger challenge. Otherwise, in India, people have loads and loads of money. Everybody would have opened the most fanciest bar in the country, but they cannot. Because what they lack is the idea. And that is what you guys have, because you are young, you can explore, you have all the time in the world, and you have the energy. That is the bigger advantage for you guys, because you guys are just getting out of college. So you're just starting off a professional life. So at this point in time, you were like, the freshest mind. And I always believe in fresh mind, because even when I do recruitment for my bars, I never look at too much of experiences, because what happens when you have a lot of experience, you get rusted, and it becomes very difficult to change that. So you have a certain mindset. You've been fine-tuned in that way for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It is very difficult to go and change that mindset. But if you're a fresh mind, and when I say, you need to shake this drink in this way, the guy just follows it blindly, because for him, it's somebody first time telling it to him. So that is exactly what's happening to you all. You are absolutely fresh. You have all the time in the world, the time is on your side, age, energy, all of that is working, and fresh mind. You can be the most innovative guys. And I see that in a lot of young bartenders today, the kind of ideas that they have in cocktail making, tremendous. And for me, as a 48-year-old professional bartender, I actually learn when I meet younger people today, more than I meet older people, because older people is all about hamare zamane mein wali baat, so that kind of irritates me a lot, because I always feel that hamare zamane mein is a wrong phrase to be used, because ye bhi hamara hi zamana hai, so therefore there is nothing called wo zamane or abhi ka zamane, because we are all alive, so therefore it is everybody's time. The only thing is how you think is critical, right? So, and like I said earlier, any idea is a great idea. It is not about only money. You can start out as simple as, I'll give you an example. After the government allowed us to do takeaway, takeaway with food we've always heard of, and it's very easy. People always had the takeaway model. But as a bar, especially serving alcoholic beverages, how do we do takeaway? Because all our patrons only think about cocktails. They never think about food. So, and takeaway food for us would be too less, as in too small a business. We will not be able to even pay our electricity bills. So we came up with the idea of doing bottled premix cocktails, because we can't even do cocktails because we're not allowed to do takeaway as far as alcohol is concerned. So we came up with a premix, and premix is just you add your booze and then you're sorted. And what we did along with that, it is not, again, a lot of bars came out with premix, but like I said, implementation of the idea. So one is we made the premix drinks, and when people bought it, what we did is with every customer that buys a premix drink, he gets a WhatsApp video. It's a 1-minute video that we shot at the bar, which tells him how to make it at home. So therefore what happens is, we all know that we made a great cocktail mix, but if he can make it correctly in his house, the experience is complete. Otherwise, he might put a little extra ice, he might use the wrong glassware, and it might not result 100% in the taste experience. So the idea was to send this video immediately. And then what happens with all those experiences, the guy would make a drink for himself at home, taste it and figure out that, oh, he's made a very delicious tasting drink. And then you take a picture, either post it on Facebook or Insta, and also send us a link. So what was happening is, through this, we were also reaching out to a lot of his friends, who then realized, who's making this premix? Let's get some for ourselves. And that is how it is being multiplying over a period of time. Now we are in talks with the liquor industry saying, let's tie up with this idea. This is a great idea. So what started off as a 10-bottle premix is now looking at 100 bottles a day. So what happens is, you have an idea. The idea is to believe in an idea, number one, and to think hard, and there can be many innovative ways. And the reason why I refer to younger minds is, younger minds think differently. Today, you have the support of social media. You're connected to the world. Within no time, you can see the world in your palm. That's the situation at this point in time. And I'll tell you very honestly, we as bartenders, we are connected to bartenders all across the world. And how we get ideas, we actually figure out what's happening in Hong Kong, Singapore, London, New York, Sydney, and then we try to implement those ideas here, or based on those ideas, we innovate our ideas considering where we are located. So it's important to think on those lines. And the key, as far as my little advice is concerned, is you have an idea. Ideas do not have to be big. It can be as small as doing, I came across something called Wow Momo 2 years ago. And I found it, when I looked at it, I found it very funny. When I went out to check in detail what this guy was doing with Wow Momo and why does this guy have such a big name, is when I realized he became innovative in Momo. He started making chocolate momos, which we, as people who, Momo is part of a culture, we never even thought. So what happens is, the difference is, this guy, who does not even know or never ever made Momo in his household, comes up with an idea of making Momo a complete form of business. So he's given us a business model. Whereas we're happy making momos for the longest time, over centuries, and we're eating momos, we're very happy posting one photo and saying, oh, we had a great meal today. But somebody else took the same momo and made it into a business format. And making momos does not require more than $100. The idea was the bigger thing over here, because what he did is, he reinvented the momo from the meat to going vegetarian to making it even into a dessert format. So he's got all varieties of momo, right? From veg, non-veg, chocolate. So he did all kinds of things that he could do, which means that his Momo today appeals to the masses, right? Somebody sitting in northern part of Delhi is also buying his Momo, and somebody sitting in the the southern part of India is also buying his Momo, because he's made that Momo something that is acceptable by the universe, right? So that is what ideas could do. And I'm 100% sure that when he took off this idea, he would have just launched his product with, I think, one small little kiosk. That is what I heard. When he started off with a small little kiosk somewhere, I think in Calcutta only. And look at him today. There's another story about Momo in Calcutta called Momo IIM. These guys were young fellows. I met them last year because they had come to Delhi, and I realized they'd open up somewhere in Lake Town, and then suddenly within no time they multiplied. And within a span of 2 years, they had, I think, 4 or 5 Momo joints across Calcutta, and then they invested in a 8,000 square feet massive outlet somewhere in Sector 5 last year. So and I was imagining, I said, these guys would have made, if somebody's investing in a 8,000 square feet bar and restaurant, means the guy would have made so much money just by selling this small little Momo in 100 square feet space, where the investment would not be more than a couple of lakhs. So the idea is the bigger thing, and the implementation of the idea. So you have the idea, you have 100% commitment from your side to implement that idea. And the third thing is, there is no result without hard work. There is absolutely no result without hard work. And if you look at anybody in this world who is successful today, is working as much hard as he was working 20 years ago. And it is very much, and hard work does not mean you work like a donkey, because the idea is to also use your head, so you need to use your mind when you're working. And as you work, there would be a lot of setbacks. Setbacks are not about failures. And again, because you guys are students, I would like to also say that, a lot of times the reason why people do not take a plunge and do not take a risk in our country is because we all, before we even tried it, we are scared of failure. The biggest problem is, even before we give it a shot, we feel, agar fail ho gaya to kya karenge? Agar nahi chala to kya karenge? To me, I feel failure is nothing but just feedback. What we don't realize is, with each failure, you're becoming a better professional. So sometimes it's good to just go ahead and give it a shot. And as young minds, you can, because you have the time in your world. The advantage with you guys is you have the time. At the age of 48, I do not have the time, because if I risk another 5 years doing something, I have to be sure of it and therefore do it. And I have to have a proper backup. So for me, it is, from the bar business, I might do a food business. So for me, it is another idea, keeping this intact. But I cannot completely get into something new, risking everything. But you guys can do it. Because even if you lose the next 5 years, and if you don't come out successful in a certain idea, you always can relook at things, right? But in my case, I would have lost those 5 years, and it's too bad for me. So that advantage, that plus point that you have, you need to use it to make and work for yourself, in your idea. And ideas could be as simple as, like I said, opening up a small little Momo joint, even online. I'll give you an example. The day before yesterday, I got a call from a 20-year-old girl who is, I don't know how, but she happens to be a big fan of my cocktail bar in Gurgaon. So within my Insta page, she sent me a message and said, I need to talk to you because I've opened up a wedding planning company and I need to speak to you. So I did not know the age. I did not know how old the person was. I thought it must be from somebody who was already in the business. So yesterday, the young girl called me up, and as I was talking, I said, I have 20 years of experience. And suddenly she said, I am 20 years old. So when you started off, I was not even born. And then the idea was brilliant. She said, I want to have a collaboration with you guys because I want to provide wedding solutions online. And I said, how are you going to do it? Because weddings these days in India are big, and people have big budgets for weddings. Now with the COVID, what has happened is it's not beyond just about 50 people, which means less of the people, it is better, right? So therefore you would have lesser people from the F&B on every aspect. So she said, I'm going to do this 1-hour packages where it's a do it yourself DIY kind of weddings, where the host will have to plan and do his weddings himself. But what he will get is online, he will get a lesson how to do it correctly. So she said, I have a panel of people like wedding designers to wedding planners to everybody who can attend these sessions and you exactly direct him how to, for example, if he or she will show you his wedding space, and then the idea is to, give him tips on where to place a flower pot, how to do the ceiling decor and all of that, and also do a 3D based on that, and then show him exactly and guide him how to do the decor. And it struck me. I said, this is a great idea. Then I said, you know what? The difference with food and beverages, it's a touch and go. I might be able to do a Zoom session where I can teach a person how to do a cocktail, but I'm not confident if he can get it right. And I said, I have another idea. She said, what? I said, to this, what you can do is, and it is also a business idea for me, and it struck me immediately. I said, what I will do is, I will do a 1-hour Zoom where I'll charge the client. And then what I will do is, I will customize the cocktail based on the bride's liking, the groom's liking, and also what his or her friend's liking is all about. And also based on the theme, whether it is a wedding youngsters, Sangeet, or a wedding reception, right? And the age group of the people. Then I said, then after I give him the lesson, I'm going to create a mix for him. So when he says 50 people, I'll send him balance of the cocktail mix, which he will buy from me. And I will do a Zoom for him on that evening where he can actually mix all of those cocktails and serve his guests. So from a distance, I would do two businesses. One is that I would charge him for giving my expert idea. Second is I would sell my product to him also on the ground. And she was like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. And people would be more than happy to do it, because everybody in their weddings or when they throw a party wants to give an experience to their guests, which is a little different from what they've already experienced in the past. And we guys can create that for them, right? So when you talk, small ideas could be big ideas, okay? And it's always okay to share an idea. It's always okay to believe in your idea, because like I said earlier, no idea is a bad idea. Every idea is $1 million idea. The only difference is implementation of that idea. That is the differentiator. So and young minds, you guys are so fresh. So you could look at these areas as well. Hospitality today is not just restricted to hotels, bars, and restaurants. I did a small little video for a company yesterday at my bar, and he basically spoke to me about how could beverage be a career, and it is beyond bars and hotels. I even spoke about beverage journalism. I said beverage journalism is something which is going to be big, and F&B journalism, for example, somebody who is great in creative writing. So one of you guys who is presently in the 3rd year of hotel management, almost passing out of hotels, have always had this inclination towards creative writing. You can take up this subject and get into creative writing. You could just create a small little blog, do some interesting content, and then you build your customers. And then tomorrow you will have a lot of people who will want to get into your content and want you to endorse upon their stuff. So ideas like these are simple. You can do it from home. All that you need is just internet connection, because ideas within you have that knack towards creative writing. And you are already hotel management graduates. You've done a course theoretically. You've been in hotels doing your 6-month internship. So you've seen. And then, when you can just call up to a few hoteliers, get as money, and then advantages, you have your seniors, right? You have alumni from IIHM. Whenever I come across young students or young hoteliers or F&B professionals who are from IAM or IIHM, I always have a soft corner for them. It's a normal tendency. So if somebody says, I'm from IAM, I need a little bit of help, I'll be more than happy to help him out. So if he says, I need to know how the beverage industry works, I will give him 10 tips. And you could formulate that into some nice creative writing, and that itself could be a very attractive thing. And today, a lot of people are doing it. I know a lot of people who are into creative writing, not from the industry, but they are still doing a lot of food and beverage journalism. That is another area that one can look at, right, and make it big. You can be the biggest influencer. People give you experiences, I'm telling you. If you can write well and create some investment, or just not even a website, you can just create a nice Insta handle with great content. There are guys who are very good with photography. You could pick up a subject and just specialize in that. I met a guy 2 years ago. He's a hotel management graduate. He was a hotel management graduate from IIHM Dadar Catering some 15 years ago, but a failed hotelier. He was basically a failed hotelier. And I was in a trip to Scotland where it was more like a fam tip for us done by William Grant. And there was this guy who had not even carried a jacket. He was basically a photographer on Insta. He only does Insta photography. And he has like some 1 lakh followers. And he was also paid. He was being paid. So one is that he was being given money to travel to Scotland, the best distilleries of William Grant, and take pictures, okay, and post it on Insta. That is all that he had to do. And he traveled business class. He was staying with us in the finest hotels, eating the best food, experiencing the finest distilleries, and all that he was doing is taking pictures, and that is his passion. His passion is, and he's a failed hotelier. He was not somebody who was successful in the hotel industry, and he chose his passion. And that, you know, he was telling me stories, and my parents were very pissed off with me because I chose to do photography, because everybody else thought that we invested so much money in hotels. So what I was saying is, even hobbies could be great business format in today's date. Today, in today's date, with the way we are and where we are presently, it's like an open blue sky. If your thought is great, and if you have the willingness to implement it 100%, everything can be into a business. I know of people who are great home chefs. You know, in my building where I live in Gurgaon, there is a lady. Her husband is a bakery chef with Oberoi. I didn't know about it, but the lady I met in the lift, and I saw her carrying a packet, and I said, "What is that?" She said, "Oh, I'm a baker. I'm a home baker, and I make some breads and give it to people on orders." And I said, "Oh, that's a great idea. You know, fresh bread. Somebody in the 11th floor makes it. I'm in the 7th floor. Not bad, you know." And then I went to my wife and I said, "You know, there's somebody upstairs who makes bread." And now, during this COVID, she's actually converted that into a business format. She's selling, and I calculated the other day, she's doing business worth 5,000 rupees a day within the society. That's 1.5 lakh rupees in a month. And the investment, you know, I was calculating the cost. Her total F&B cost would be not more than about 30%. If she does best quality, not more than 40%. That is, if I'm talking about A quality ingredients, you know, with the best hygiene. And what we are getting in return is fresh bread. You know, she sends a WhatsApp message and says, "My breads are getting ready in the next 1 hour." And me and my kids, we just get the bread down and cut it. It's still warm. We just cut it in with tea. It's fantastic. What I'm saying is that has been a business. She's making, sitting at home, using a home kitchen, she's making 1.5 lakh rupees a month. Imagine. So ideas could be as basic as this, you know. And it's wonderful. And you know what has happened is, because the Oberoi was shut, please do not leak this information, but what her husband has done is, there's a sous chef, because there were so many orders, there's a sous chef who is also sitting at home. He quietly got him to stay with them. So now husband is helping her out to churn out more bread, because this is turning out to be a better business. And then they've also got a sous chef who is sitting at home to come and work with him. That sous chef is also making some extra money now, purely because of a simple idea. It was the idea, you know. And you know, now she's, you know, when things are all fine, we will never go to Lama's to buy bread. We know where we can get the best bread at a much cheaper price and absolutely fresh. So simple ideas like these can actually take a business format. You know, home chefs, home bakers, there are people who specialize in desserts at home. They only make desserts. I know of a lot of people. There are people who are home bartenders as well. There are a lot of people who actually, because, you know, we have great bartenders who make amazing cocktails, but they're not great presenters. What you need in online stuff is, you got to be a great presenter as well, right? So, and there are some people who are not great bartenders. They're very average bartenders, but they are great presenters. So those guys are making big bucks today, because when you do a Zoom session, you don't taste the cocktail, right? So whether he's made a bad tasting cocktail, nobody knows. But he's done a great presentation. By the way he presents the drink, it feels he's made a cocktail that tastes like divine. You know, it's like a divine tasting drink. But so you need to be able to use your skills, use your experience, use your ideas. Okay. And if you have an idea, try and explore it. And exploring idea is not just about just doing it. There must be so many people already doing things like these. Look into them. You know, get better ideas from them. Learn through their experiences. Like, what am I doing by sitting over here and talking to you all? All that I'm doing is just sharing my experiences, right? You all cannot be me, I cannot be you all. But my experience is saving you 20 years of your life. Because what I'm saying is 20 years from my experience. It took me 20 years to experience it, but what you're getting is all my 20 years compiled into 1 hour. Okay. So when you talk to people, this is what happens. You know, the more we talk to people, we expose ourselves, we mature, we evolve, and that is the whole idea. Okay. So I think I have done my bit of talking, and I can get really, really boring because I'm a bartender. and it's too early to kind of pour a drink or stir the drink at this point in time. But if you guys have any questions, it'll be wonderful to take on those questions and see if I could give some, sensible answers to this question.
Absolutely. Mr. Lama, we've got questions coming in, and we can request students in case you have questions. We've opened the chat box. You can quickly put in your questions there. Time's short, so we'll be able to take 2 or 3 questions. But before we go on to the questions, let me summarize what you've said. I think some amazing takeaways we've taken for Sahas today. And this will be the turning point for Sahas, your presentation. Well, the first point that I made note, and I think that's so, that's so pertinent to what you said. And that's so pertinent to today's times, that you went to a no man's land where the rent was 1/6, where you could not afford. So you went opposite the challenges. And that's where the first step starts. Nobody's going to give you, to the students, I'm saying, nobody's going to give you ₹1 crore to invest. You got to start fresh. You got to start from scratch. Even 99.9% is not 100%, which means that if you think you're putting your best, you better put your 100%, not 99.9%, which means you need to get mad into what you do. The right mindset. I think that's so apt for today, what you said in today's life. You need to have the right mindset. Slightest of doubt or slightest of interference of outside forces that make you negative or pull you down will actually not make you successful. So identify those forces that try to bring you down and move them away. Because, so that you are always passionate about what you're doing. It's all about the right mindset. Rethink, reinvent. How to implement that idea, I think, is something that you focused on. And I think your idea of a bottled remix with a WhatsApp video is something that's a superb to do. And, the story of reinventing of the momos, failure is a feedback. I think that's a quote, the quote of the day, quote of Sahas, quote of Friday today that you came and talked about, Mr. Lama, is about failure is a feedback. It is so apt. We sometimes, all of us, including us and students, when we fail, we feel sad. But actually, failure is a feedback. You're so right.
Can I just cite one example that happened to me 2011?
Absolutely. Please.
It's a little funny, but it's also very interesting. Okay. So we are all adults here. Everybody's above 18 years of age, so we can talk a little bit, be a little frank. So I was in Singapore, and this was because Diageo, the people who own Johnny Walker, they were launching the Diageo Bar Academy globally. So there were 10 trainers, and we were all based out of Singapore at that time. And then we were doing a 10-day interactive session on how to train future bartenders across the world. Okay. And so there was a guy, and he still works with Johnny Walker. He was a Johnny Walker brand ambassador from Indonesia. Okay. And his name is Jeremy Lee. Nice young fellow, but very interesting because he could connect with everybody within no time. Right. So we were all staying in this fancy hotel, and we would all just go down for breakfast, buffet, and then head to the Diageo office around 9:30 for the day-long session. And every morning, Jeremy was more like somebody who could go and talk to any women. And we were all men at that time. So all 10 of us from all across. There were Australian guys, there were a few English bartenders. We all having what happened is on one particular evening, we were all sitting as a group, and we were all eating a breakfast. Suddenly, this smartly dressed lady comes down. She must be a big shot in some of the corporate offices. So she walks towards the booth, and all our heads turned towards her. So all of us looked towards her, and everybody knew that, smart lady. And then everybody then looked at Jeremy and said, Jeremy, do you have what it takes to go and talk to the lady? And he says, no worries, man. Don't worry. It just happened. And then within 5 minutes, he picks up his plate, because by the time the lady's taken whatever she has to take and sat in a corner, and he goes with his plate and sits with her, and then they have almost like a half an hour chat. And he comes up with a phone number, exchanges his phone number, and then we all are all taken by surprise. He says, okay, I'm catching up with her for coffee this evening after she's back from work. And you know what he said? The problem with you guys is you all have that fear of rejection. So the reason why you cannot talk to the ladies, you have that fear of rejection. And he said, always remember, when somebody says he doesn't want to talk to you, it is not rejection, it is feedback. So you should always take it as a feedback. And now it came as a very funny lesson, but it was a great lesson to understand from here. You know, the guy, while the balance 9 of us were just sitting in the corner and just chatting and, you know, didn't have the guts, he picked up his plate and went and sat with us, chatted, exchanged phone numbers, and they were already seeing each other for coffee in the evening. So sometimes it is good to be able to take your feedback or your failures from a positive aspect. You know, it only makes you much more stronger and more knowledgeable, as well as better experiences. So we always say, you know, somebody's told me this day before yesterday, they said the night cannot be as long that there's no light of the day. So you will always see light of the day. Okay, so it's the same thing over here as well. If you're going through a tough phase, don't worry. You know, it happens to everyone. So I was unemployed for almost 3 months after I left hotels. So it's okay. All right, sorry, Abdullah. It just struck my head, so I just thought I should share it.
No, that's such a you know, that's exactly what you said. You know, these are experiences that you've got in the last so many years, and we're trying to take out the juice of it in about an hour. You know, so this is exactly what Sahas does, and this is the idea of Sahas, to connect your experiences with our students, and of course the wedding solution that you gave in, and of course you know, the experience that you've shared. So we've got a question that has come, only one possibly, and we'll take only one last question before we go back to Dr. Bose for the closing. So the question is this the right time to start any business as we are uncertain about the current situation? Of course, I think I want you to answer this, Mr. Lama.
Okay, so when you refer to starting a business, it does not mean investing in terms of capital. Starting a business starts with an idea. So you have an idea, you jot it down, and then you work. So by the time things settle down probably in the next 3 months is when your idea has converted into a business plan. Because when you say, is it the right time to start a business? You're not going to have an idea today and tomorrow you invest money and start a business. You will do a little bit of research. So I feel this is a great time to work on an idea and give it a shape of a nice business plan. Because what you would have done is in the course of those next couple of months, you would do a research, you would be able to speak to people who are already in that particular business or within that space, you would get a better idea. So this is the time to convert that idea into a business plan. And when things open up, you're ready to invest. So I would not say, you know, especially for the hospitality trade, I would not say this is the time to put in money, but I would say this is a time to invent and create ideas, you know, or convert those ideas into business plans. And it applies to you guys. It also applies to existing businesses. Okay, so this is not the time to immediately put in money. I don't think so. But, you know, when you think and convert that idea into a business plan, what you're doing is you're investing your money smartly. The idea is to put in a smarter manner, which means you got to support it with data and create that into a business format. So definitely, yes, it is a good time to think on business aspect, but I'm not too sure if you need to put in the money straight away. If it is a business, like for example, I spoke to you about the lady who is a home baker. Now, if it is something like that, where you already have a lot of demand, or for example, somebody who started off a Zoom wedding planning services. Now, those are ideas where you can implement now, because if you succeed now, it's going to be a long-term plan. Okay, so if you have ideas like these, then of course it requires immediate implementation. But over there, you do not require big investments. It's a small investment. All that you need is an internet connection, a few ideas, maybe a few slides, and of course, you need to also get your partners to work together. Like this lady is connecting with bartenders, caterers, designers, you know, all kinds of people, musicians, and then creating a set of people who can then come together. And she has a certain fee. So every time she gets me a client, she will take 15% of whatever. So that's her business model, right? But it is all done staying at home. Now, if you have something like this where you can do it online, you can immediately implement it. But if it is about, you know, investing money on the ground, I think at this point in time, investing money on the ground, you need to wait for a while. But what you could do is utilize that time, that waiting time, into converting that into a business plan.
Lovely. Great. Thank you, Mr. Lama, for sharing your lovely ideas today to us. And so at the end, ladies and gentlemen, we got to follow two steps today. And the end of Saturday, as we move towards the end of the session, there are only two steps that we need to do. Step number one, check your passion, identify your hobby. And step number two, think about an idea that is connected to your passion and your hobby. And with this, we take Sahas straight to Dr. Bose. So over to you.
Yeah, lovely to hear Yangdup after such a long time connecting so closely. Thank you for your very, very realistic examples and on-ground experiences which you have shared with all of us. That's exactly what you said, 25 years rolled into 1 hour. That's exactly. And I think for the students who are here or in the Facebook Live, I think this session itself is the first of its kind, as a great opportunity to share so great ideas. So you should take this session as not just an inaugural speech, but this session is something which actually should trigger the passion and make a 1 step or 2 step ahead of the ambition. Yes, ideas actually are what we all live and die for. So for long years, I think about 12 years now, my email signature is an idea is an event. It's still that. If you get an email from me, my signature line is an idea is an event. And I feel that it is true. And any idea is actually an event. And my biggest idea, which I converted into an event, is Young Chef Olympiad, where we have got 60 countries comes to India for the 6th edition and did the world's largest culinary event. It was just an idea over a coffee, and we created the world's largest culinary competition. So I think absolutely so. And I just want to add that the business also feel that when you convert an idea into an invoice, I think when you convert an idea into an invoice, that's what I call a business. So I think that's what we need to do really. Great idea should actually get you some money as well, today or tomorrow or day after. So with that, I'm really honored to formally, officially inaugurate the Sahas initiative of the IIHM Delhi chapter on this auspicious 12th of June. And we take it forward at all India level. And then we have got a global conclave where we get some real great minds and entrepreneur who talks their heart out. And of course, we all as educator should be a part of this revolution, because this is something which we really need to work together with the same kind of passion that Yangdup was saying. It's really something which we need to push the student, inspire the student, motivate them to take up the role of an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur in times to come. So with that, very happy to be a part of this morning's Zoom session. And thanks Yangdup for being with us. Thanks Abdullah for always being such an great, energetic BBC News data kind of a compare. So that's all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Bose, for joining in. Absolute pleasure to have you and have Mr. Yangdup Lama as well join us. Ladies and gentlemen, big announcement from Dr. Bose today of 1 crore corpus that has been set aside, kept only for our students, that will be distributed to you once you present your paper, once you present your elevation pitch. And of course, it is approved by our chartered accountants. And it's a small a very small step towards promoting our students as job creators. Also, to let you know, Delhi chapter is organizing another session tomorrow and 3-4 sessions lined up coming week, which your teams will let you know. All you got to do is step 1 and step 2. Remember that. And next week, Friday, we will have this deliberation of your ideas. Please be in touch with your spokes. We will have these ideas. We will deliberate on them. We will look into how we can improve on these ideas. And once we select your ideas, we go back to Mr. Lama and the other members of the board and seek their advice as well. So with this, thank you so much for logging in, everybody. Enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend that's coming up and have a lovely time. Thank you, Mr. Lama, again. Thank you, Dr. Bose. Thank you to everybody for logging in. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye and take care.